Hey there, in the last Fresh Account to Endgame thing I did, I mentioned that you could do some other maps to supplement your progress and or just skip Deeper Well entirely as an armor farm, and that's what I'm going to show you guys here. Now, when it comes to the stats that we have, it's roughly 2k in our stats. I do have a lot of the stuff from Deeper Well, but I didn't upgrade most of it, so it's still around the stats that you would have when you're starting Deeper Well on all of these characters, with the exception of our series EV, because she is big gear. She is massive gear, except here's the thing. The only thing that the EV is doing is placing down a buff beam, and look at the boost intensity on the damage there, 1.538. Now, if I were to unequip all of my armor, all of it, on the Series EV, down to 2k, we've halved our damage. It's still basically the same damage boost. In fact, the difference between having, I think, like 4k and 2k in the beam damage when you have all the stuff upgraded to maximum 3 stars is like, it's less than 4%. And the beam damage, that's what boosts the highest when it comes to the buff beams. Everything else is even less than that. So trust me, her stats don't really matter that much. Other than that, we're also going to be using Valero, our Hermit, Zendigas, our Summoner, finally using Zendigas, Leshy, our Warden, who I should probably have gotten some better gear on because these sides are a bit low, but whatever. And mainly Portoria, our Jester, with an upgraded Magic. And also, I respect her to put all her points into hero damage. A necessary requirement for what I'm going to be showing you guys is doing Halloween Invasion on Insane Hardcore. This one is a little bit jank, I will admit. This build is not the best by any means, but like, you just need one completion of the map, and then you're good. But you got to get that one completion of the map in first, otherwise, I mean, you just can't follow along. But basically, we're going to be placing down 3 aura stacks at every crystal, roughly in the same areas and the same spots that I am. These first 2 crystals on the left and right, they matter a lot more. This middle crystal, not so much. I'm going to be honest, I'm going to lower the aura size by like 1 or 2 whenever I need to here, because I kind of don't really care about this crystal since no major mobs go through this area. Only small, like, chump mobs go through there, and they're not really that much to deal with. Next, we're going to go over and swap to our Proto Girl, our Eevee. She's going to matter a good bit with her placement of towers and reflections and all that good business. But basically, at the top of these stairs, a pretty good bit at the top of these stairs, you want to place down a tower buff beam, something like that. And then down here, we want to place down a reflector. Over here, we want to place down another reflector, and basically just make a wall of reflectors like that. Should look like a neat little box. And then all the way over here, we're going to place down 2 reflectors. I'm going to be honest, I'm going off of like pure memory when it comes to making this build, so some parts might not be perfect, but I'm sure it'll be fine, hopefully. Over here, we're going to dump down a buff beam right here. And then down here, what we're going to do is dump down a 60U buff beam all the way here, with 1 reflector over here, 1 reflector something like this. This should be doing just fine. And then a reflector somewhere in the front. Really far in the front. Somewhere like this will be fine. And I think there's other things I was supposed to do, but I don't really remember, so I'm just going to assume this is fine. Next, we're going to go over and swap to Valero, and we're going to place down, oh my god, you have negative speed, a Forest Golem right here. All the way down here, we're going to place down a 2DU web wall. Another 2D web wall right here around this pumpkin area. That should do just fine. And then I honestly, I don't really remember where I want this guy. But I think towards the back or something I want a forest, or towards the front. I think towards the front I want a forest golem here, or something like that. Next up is going to be our main builder, Leshy, our DPS character. On Leshy, we're going to be placing a couple sets of towers, but basically pretty far back over here, actually. We're going to be placing down, one shroom pit over here, and then we're going to have cloud towers facing roughly towards the crystal and kind of like diagonal-wise. So if you stand over here, you know, like that, basically, right? And then we're going to have 2 cloud towers facing that way, and then like 1, 2, 3 withstands, and that should be fine. I might sell one of those withstands in a minute, but for the moment, that'll do. And then over here, we're going to place down a shroom pit, a couple of cloud towers. So first goes the shroom pit, and then we're going to place down 1 cloud tower facing that way, another cloud tower facing that way, and then as many withstands as we can get away with, which appears to be just 1. Actually, you know what? I'm lazy. I'm going to sell a electric aura over there because I don't think it does that much damage anyways. And also over here as well. Screw it. And then I'm going to place down 2 more withstands over here in their place. Yeah, that should do just fine. We're keeping the electric aura over here because it actually does something. Now we're going to place down a ton of minions, like a ton. We're going to place a ton of minion walls here. So first things first, you see around like this beam at the bottom here, we're going to place a massive wall of archers and also a couple of mages around this spot. We're going to do mages every 3 archers roughly, and even more archers after that. But just basically make a semi-complete wall or as close as you can get to it. It's fine if there's no mages over here because it should be fine, trust me. Over here around this beam spot right here, we're going to place down another set of walls. And I think that should be fine, probably. Next up is over here. Around these stairs, we're going to place down another set of minions. And that should be just about fine. Now there's one last spot where I'm going to place down minions, which is going to be placing down a wall right down here. But this is going to be a fairly light wall with not that much going on. Just a spider, a few archers, and that's it. And then last spot, around here, we're going to place down a spider minion, and then another spider minion right here. These guys might go down at some point, but it's fine if they do. It's no big deal. Now, with everything placed down, we're going to swap over to our Jester, who, again, I have respect into damage. By the way, I'm using a fissionable because it just gives me a lot of hero damage, but there's probably other better pets you can use. Now, you might be wondering, why not bring in extra characters? It's because on this map specifically, you don't get any amount of extra rewards for having any extra characters. You get 1 set of rewards per account, and that's it. So I guess if you had extra accounts, you could grind this for extra rewards, but honestly, that's like lame as balls, and I'm never really going to do that. Now, before the wave starts, you need to be very, very vigilant. The first set of enemies on this map is going to be 2 Spider Queens, and they can move your towers. While it doesn't matter for your minions or your Forest Golems, because he's also a minion, they'll move back to place. This main set of towers, if these guys get moved, it's over. It's completely over. What can happen is a spider minion can spawn over here, or a spider minion can spawn like right here, not minion, queen. And then also there's a couple of spots over here that I don't really remember, but the main one is like right here. Essentially, you need to be on the dot whenever the spider queen spawns to just make sure that you can deal with it instantly. Now I'm going to press P to hide my other things, and then right here in the middle of the roof, I like to stand around this spot, I'm going to press Control G while looking at my map. And okay, we got lucky. The Spider Queen, first one spawned over here. Keep your distance with these Spider Queens. If you get unlucky and they go against the wall, you can't really damage them in their weak spot, but you should be able to kill the Spider Queen as long as you're not being stupid before the next one spawns in. There we go. Now just keep an eye on the map yet again. If you can, move on to the top of the roof, but it's fine if you can't. Maybe upgrade a tower or something, but again, just keep an eye out on your map. You need to make sure that the Spider Queens are dealt with immediately. Okay, same spot again. We got pretty lucky. Now, while I'm dealing with her, it's very important that I mention, if she doesn't spawn in this spot, you need to make sure to take her aggro by just DPSing the hell out of her, no matter where she spawns. Because if you don't, and she moves your Wisp towers and your Cloud towers, it's over. Now, with her dead, the next enemy is going to be Demon Lords, and I'm going to be honest, these guys are complete chumps. You can really just chill out. For the most part, they're just going to sit in whatever area they spawn in because they just have potato AI. So you can really just chill out and not worry about anything. Also, they don't really have that much HP. I think it's like 5 million HP per Demon Lord, so trust me when I tell you there's not really much to worry about. Oh, by the way, this web wall over here usually gets beaten down really, really badly, just does not have that much health, so you'll probably have to keep it up a good bit. But while the Demon Lords are out, as long as they're not getting near your main stack of towers, you should be fine. Oh my god, they were actually damaging these guys over here. This is really rare, by the way. Normally, they don't ever get near this spot and damage these towers. I guess I placed my reflection a little bit wrong, so you could work on that. Or just place another reflection here. But most of the time they spawn in, they'll just sit wherever they spawn, and then you can just ignore them and upgrade your towers and do whatever. You do have a timer on the map, but like, trust me, don't worry about the timer. It will literally never matter. If you have to worry about the timer on this map, something has gone horrifically wrong. Every once in a while, if you want, you can go ahead and do a triple heal with your Jester Wheel. But other than that, just keep an eye out for where the Demon Lords spawn in, and if your towers are getting low, by pressing P to show your towers, and you should be fine. Trust me, the Demon Lords are by far the easiest part of this entire thing. They are a complete joke. I'm really surprised that these guys are getting past. Maybe they upgraded the AI? No, I doubt it. Maybe I was just getting lucky in the past or something. I don't really know. Most of the time when I'm doing this map, I just sit on the roof. And whenever I sit on the roof, the guys just don't know how to path. But I guess when I'm on the floor, they just remember that they can actually go near my towers. But I mean, even if they do, look at this guy. They don't really last very long. Okay, before you kill the last Demon Lord, very important, you probably want to be on this roof. In fact, you probably want to do a little bit of this to heal up all of your towers, because the next set of enemies are Super Wyverns. They have 2 spawn points, which is over here and over here. Now, these guys have a lot of HP. In fact, they might actually get past your towers. Here, swapping between the Nosferatu, which I just realized I haven't upgraded this one that much, and your Jester main weapon might be nice, the staff, because the main weapon has a really shit shot pattern, and at range, it just doesn't work that well, compared to the Nosferatu, which does. Oh yeah, if you want, doing a triple sword basically guarantees that these guys are going to die before they get to your crystal, but honestly, even if they get to your crystal, it's fine, because they deal damage, but like not that much. Certainly not enough to where you have to be super concerned. As long as you're keeping an eye on where they are and how close they are to your crystals, you should be able to deal with them without any real difficulty. Okay, now the next set of enemies is going to be the massive pumpkin-wearing snowmen. These guys have a couple of spawn points, but honestly, they're very, very easy to deal with. In fact, most of the time I just sit up on this roof and shoot down on them. Of course, the shot pattern isn't particularly nice for that, but whatever. They'll get close enough to where the shot pattern will hit most of its shots, and they don't really have that much HP. Like, they have 100 million, which is a lot, but it's not really a lot. 100 million looks like a lot, it's not. Also, I'm not 100% sure on this, but other than your minions, I don't think these guys can actually damage your, like, wristbands or anything like that. So you shouldn't really have much to worry about. Although, for sure, you want to keep your minions alive, because if the minion wall goes down, I wouldn't be as confident as to say you go down, but you get really scared. Alright, if the minion walls go down, you are in quite a pickle, because the ogres, as you probably have noticed, they're getting stuck on the minion walls, and that's the main way that we're dealing with them. And without the minion walls, you could still probably deal with them, but it'd be a lot more sketchy, and I'd rather not. The main reason I chose a Jester over something like an Apprentice, which has the overcharge ability and does way, way more damage, is because of the fact that you can use the Jester wheel to heal things. Again, by no means necessary, but it is a nice quality of life increase to just do that instead of having to heal all the towers manually. Also, the triple swords aren't too bad either. Now, once you've killed the second to last guy, for the last dude, make sure no matter what, you are on this roof when you kill him, because you need to make sure that the next enemies that spawn, specifically the Krakens, they are dealt with ASAP, or at the very least, you need to get their attention as soon as possible. If you don't, very Jovertown. Now, they have a couple of spawners that they can come from, but just basically pay attention to your map, and the moment that you see one, immediately start attacking. Like this one spawned over here, I am now immediately attacking it to grab its attention. They don't deal that much damage, really, and they don't have that much HP, so you should be able to deal with them perfectly fine. But if they get to your towers, they can, 1, move them, and 2, probably take them down. But once you've killed one of the Krakens, there's only 2 more, and they take forever to spawn in, so for the most part, you're fine. By the way, you might notice that the ogres and pretty much all the mobs are taking longer to die now. Basically, they just get more HP the longer the map goes on, or the later in the waves you get, or something like that. But as long as you have the minion walls, it shouldn't really matter. Just keep an eye out on your minimap for whatever the next set of Kraken spawn in, and you should be fine. Okay, next set of Krakens is spawned in. This guy right here can actually get stuck behind a roof occasionally. Not super common, but it is a possibility. And what is he doing? They have really weird AI, so sometimes they'll just go off in a distance. I mean, I don't know, maybe he saw like a butterfly. But no matter what, as long as you're damaging them early on enough, they should be aggro to you, so you should be fine. Oh, and here is our last Kraken. Now, you might be wondering, who's the next big bad? What do we have to worry about? Basically, just stay on the roof, and your next big bad is a complete joke. Well, as long as you're, like, paying attention. It's going to be the Phoenix, who's going to spawn somewhere in this area. The shot pattern is really going to show itself here and kind of be bad, but if the Phoenix gets near you, like this guy is for me, then, I mean, just... you're done, you know? You're done. Doesn't take that long, not very hard. It's easy all around. And you're also going to get a couple of accessories. Probably nothing crazy good, but, you know, it could always be decent. Some armor, although we didn't get any armor. And mainly, the big thing we're here for is the Moonstaff. And at least from all the testing that I've done, you should get a good enough Moonstaff on a single completion. But if you don't, that's too fucking bad. This one is perfectly fine. You can actually get these in Mythical or maybe like up to Supreme, but most of the time it'll be Transcended. Now you might notice this thing says Elemental Damage Scaling. You will only upgrade the Elemental Damage on this weapon, never the base damage. Oh yeah, you also get an Eyeball Pet, which is pretty good. Has great stats, speed multiplier, but you need to be level 100 to use it, which is lame as balls. And apparently you get some Guardians, except, wow, you are garbage. And a Witch's Brew. I don't know if this is a good DPS weapon or something. It might be, but I don't care, so I'm not going to use it. So when it comes to upgrading your Moonstaff, I would probably recommend maxing out the charge speed bonus instead of getting it to just 80, because it's pretty useful. The projectile speed, I don't think this does anything. I'm going to be honest, I don't think this matters. You can max it out if you want, but I'm just going to allocate the rest of the points into poison damage, or whatever is your elemental damage, because that's what matters a lot more. Honestly, this one rolled pretty low in its damage, so that's going to kind of suck, but it should still be fine. Where would be a good spot to demonstrate this? Oh, here we go. Let me show you guys why we got this weapon. It hit literally all of these dummies. It has a massive, massive AoE. Now, obviously, if you're on Nightmare or Ruthless, it's going to do significantly less, like way less. But still, even on these higher difficulties, I mean, not too bad, right? 1.7 mil. It's actually definitely, this one's way worse than the average one is, but it'll probably be fine. Now here's the main part of the video. Once you have this staff, you can do these next two armor farm slash weapon farm slash whatever farms. The first one is going to be on Lava Salt, and we're going to be using this guy, our primary jester, who has decent stats, you know, decent damage reductions, all that good business. And we are using our Tower Boost Monk, except this time we are actually respecking him into full Hero Boost. And also I've swapped out his pet to give Hero Boost. Ideally, this guy should have like some decent amount of hero health and other stats, but I just equipped whatever set I had on my my Guardian Summoner. And you still want to deal around 2,000 plus damage per projectile. It is very, very useful at this point in time to have a fairy. Something like this, which has positive HP and damage, and a lot of it, is really, really nice. It's not necessary, but it will help you out quite a bit. I am also going to upgrade this one to maximum because of the fact that it has a pet size maximum of 21, and I want to see just how massive she's going to get. Oh my god. Okay, but anyways, I'm going to go ahead and use the Fish in a Bowl because it still gives me higher stats, and also I'm not assuming you guys have a fairy, although you should, but I'm not going to assume it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in as our secondary character, Timu, our booster monk. We're going to go into Lava Salt on Ruthless Hardcore. Now you could, if you wanted to, do this on Nightmare. I just personally don't think it's worth it. Go ahead and move over here on your Jester, and then on this guy, we're going to find some spot where we can damage some enemies to gain some mana. Something like this is probably just fine. And then what we're going to do after this is we're going to start damaging the crystal down over here. And you'll notice it's taking quite a bit more damage than it was before. Finding the angle on your other character might be a little bit rough, so mess around until you get it. But honestly, you should have enough damage that you should be able to get this crystal down within the 500-ish mana that you get at the very beginning. There we go. Now, stop boosting on this guy, and we're going to move our Jester and also our secondary guy all the way over to the next crystal. Follow the same pathing that I do, because otherwise you will probably die. Now, once you're underneath here, we're going to dump this guy down here and have him start shooting this crystal. And then we're going to move our secondary guy all the way to the same spot where he is. Also, if you can, try damaging some enemies as you go around here just to gain a little bit of extra mana. Now, we're going to find some spot where we can maybe damage some enemies. Start tower boosting, and then we're going to continue getting this crystal down. And wow, we are dealing quite a lot more damage than I thought we would. Not too bad. 2.5 mil is actually what I'm used to for damage here. Stop tower boosting on him, and then go back onto our main character and move her to the next crystal. Oh my god, get the hell away from me, you freak! Dark Elf Warriors are a pain. By the way, I'm going to take the railing route here because enemy aggro. Very weird to explain, so just trust me on that one. Start hero boosting on him. Doesn't really matter if he's hitting enemies or not, although I guess ideally he really should be. Get this crystal down. Doesn't take too long, just 3 hits or 4 hits. And then we're going to move our monk over here. And then we're also going to move our Jester over there. But basically just place him down here and then move your Jester over. You should have enough time on your hero boost that this should be fairly easy. But basically just jump down here and start destroying this crystal. Once this crystal gets destroyed, you are big chilling USA. Alright, cool. Now we're going to move both of our characters over to these conveyor belts, and also we're going to press V to skip the enemy cooldown timer or spawn timer. We're going to place them on this conveyor belt around this same spot. Now at this point, having a fairy would be really nice, but what you're going to essentially do is, if you can on your Jester actually, do a little bit of this to reduce the damage you take. And on your Monk, occasionally step forward to get the EVs aggro and they get them to move. And basically just damage the EVs. Whenever you deal a certain amount of damage, I think it's like 2,000 is the minimum threshold, they'll start jumping and moving in weird directions, and that's how we're able to deal with these 180 million HP enemies really easily, is because of the fact that they just jump off the map. If you want, you can drop some mana to your Jester every once in a while, but by no means is it necessary. But you can see, I mean, like, nearly half of them are dead already, and, like, we haven't done a single thing. We've just sat here and right-clicked every once in a while. I wouldn't go overboard with the spamming of the right click because sometimes like they'll just get stuck in a corner or something, but for the most part it's very chill. As long as you have roughly like 2 minutes and 10 seconds-ish when the EVs spawn, you should have more than enough time for them to just all fall off the map, or at least the vast majority of them. There are a couple of stuck spots which I will mention because, I mean, I need to, but there's mainly one major stuck spot that matters and everything else is just kind of whatever. But now, as long as... oh, yeah, bring in your extra characters before I forget. Jesus. But now, as long as we get this last one to jump off... come on. Homelander. There we go. And look at that. Cool. Also, you get a Series EV skin from doing that, so that's pretty neat. And now, if we go into our tavern, we will see that we have a ton of items. Not these ones we already have. I guess anything locked is stuff we already had. You get a bunch of random pets, which... they don't really matter, to be honest. I wouldn't pay much attention to them. Weapons, which also don't really matter, but mainly armor. Now, as you can see here, you will get Transcendent Armor every once in a while, up to Supreme, up to Ultimate Plus actually. You can farm this for whatever you really want. But the armor that you get from here, it's still mostly a hodgepodge. It's just that... oh wait, wrong gear. You just get a lot of the armor. So, you know... it's fairly fast, and you get a lot of armor per attempt. And I mean, you can see here, this one is a bit low on the upgrades, but you can get stuff that's really good. Oh, here we go. Great ability 1 armor piece. And the same goes for any tower stats as well. If you want, you can just sort through the Transcendence, or you can equip the Mythicals, or, of course, you can also get Ultimates and stuff like that as well. It's still mostly going to be trash armor, but it's a good way to get into a deeper well if you're having trouble. By the way, look at this. This is a great accessory for somebody like a Warden or a Tower Apprentice. The accessories that you get from here will be a hodgepodge of random bullshit, for sure, but a lot of it will be cursed, and sometimes that cursed gear will be worth using. But for the majority of useful gear, it's going to be something like this, which is going to be, you know, supreme. So you want to get your characters up to level 83 if you want to use this, but by no means is it necessary. This is a really good way to get yourself some armor, and also at the same time, if we look at our mana, 10 point, basically call it like 11 billion. It's a pretty good way to get yourself some mana. How much was that? 417 mana. Not too bad. 417 million mana, I should say. And the whole completion of that is like roughly 4 minutes. You can do those very easily and very chill. And oh yeah, I didn't mention it, so let me show you guys where the stuck spots are for the enemies. One of the most common stuck spots, if not the most common stuck spot, is right here around this crusher. An EV will be stuck here, and then you'll just have to deal with it. If you bring over your Monk and Tower Boost, or Hero Boost, you can just kill it with the staff, because like it has a lot of HP, but when it's stuck, you deal a good amount of damage. You'll get it down in time, more often than not. There are a couple of other stuck spots right here. Sometimes they'll get stuck, and they'll just be jackasses, but as long as you're staying on the conveyor belt, that's fairly infrequent, and of course, you can always do a little bit of ball thrower action to get them unstuck from there, although it is a bit janky. If they're stuck there and that's the last enemy, you can just move over here, damage them a little bit, and then kind of keep them on this main path until you get over to this spot, and then, you know, get them to fall off the map. There's a couple of stuck spots over here where they'll get stuck on the railing. These ones are a bit more dangerous, but they'll probably be fine. And honestly, if you look at the map, you'll notice all the other stuck spots, but is not really that much of a problem. Most of the time, they will get stuck in that one main spot I showed earlier, and otherwise, they'll just go over to you and die. By the way, in case the EV start shooting at you, they shouldn't deal that much damage, but if you have a fairy, it shouldn't matter at all. Now, for the other way of getting yourself some armor, but mainly, to be honest, it's a really, really good way to get yourself a tower stat weapon for your Huntress and or your EV, is going to be doing the entirety of the campaign, or at the very least up until you are finished with Endless Spires. Now then, that took, well, not that long, but it will take longer for you guys. I just did it on medium hardcore, it doesn't really matter. You just need to have the Endless Spires map completed, and then you will unlock the all the way down here, Assault Challenge, and we're going to be doing this on Ruthless Hardcore. Very quickly, I am currently on an apprentice. He's also level 100. Don't worry about that. I've only put 350 points into his hero damage and then the rest into fucking cast rate because that doesn't really matter. He has the same set that I had on my Jester, so nothing particularly crazy. The reason that I'm on an Adept is because he can do this, and that will massively boost his damage, but by no means is it necessary. You could still do it on a Jester, and of course, again, the level 100 thing doesn't matter. As long as you can use the same gear you could use on your Jester, you will be fine. So, let's go ahead, dump in 3 random extra characters, make sure my inventory is empty. There we go. And let's do Assault on Ruthless Hardcore. Very, very difficult map. So what we're going to do is run over here, kill all of these enemies. Don't worry if one survives, it's no big deal. And then we're going to go do that. And then while we still have this going, we're gonna shoot in this corner. And we're done with the map. I'm not kidding when I say this. You can do the entire map in around like 8 seconds or less. And let me get rid of the extra characters. As a reward, you get a bunch of random ass pets, and then a Blasticus. Now, unfortunately, these do have the level requirement of, you know, if it's ultimate, you got to be level 90. Ultimate plus or above is level 100. All that good business. But you can get something like this that's transcendent. And sure, the average one doesn't roll particularly amazing, but you can get like a quad 400 or whatever pretty easily because of the fact that you do this map so goddamn fast. On top of that, you get armor here. Now, the armor here is a little bit lackluster in a variety of ways most of the time, but occasionally you can get a banger piece, and it's a pretty good way to get some armor if you want to do that. It is also a pretty damn good, in fact, probably one of the best ways in the game to get yourself mana. Look at that, 500 million mana from that one completion. And of course, if I want to do it again, whoops, wrong button, all I have to do is restart the map. I guess I wouldn't remove my extra characters normally, but add in my extra characters. Oh, by the way, there's currently a bug, maybe it's just my game, but in whatever, where the timer doesn't go down, and also, for some reason, I can't use abilities and pets don't work. That's fine. It does kind of suck because it slows down the whole thing, but even if that bug is still going on, you could one-shot this crystal the same as you normally would. In fact, you can one-shot that crystal as you're going in if you hit the shot around this spot. And then, you know, after that, the enemies down here will be dead, all that good business, and you can one-shot the crystal over here. So it should be doable in 2 shots, but if you have the bug going on like I do, then it'll take a bit longer and it'll be a bit rougher. By the way, this bug also applies on Lab Assault sometimes, which is very interesting, but whatever. It's no big deal. This is a really good way, no matter what, to get yourself a ton of mana, to get yourself some, I mean, I guess potentially some weapons, but mainly tower stat weapons. I guess also maybe even a DPS weapon for your Huntress, and of course some armor along the way. In fact, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. You get pets, which don't matter. You get weapons, which only matter for one of the heroes, and you get armor, and mainly you also get a ton of mana for a map that takes literally 6 seconds up to 9 to complete. But that's pretty much it. Now you can get yourself a ton of mana. If you want to get mana, you can get yourself some extra armor, you can get yourself some accessories, and all that's really left to do to get like 4.5k-ish in the primary stat is just to do more of either Halloween Spooktacular, this bad boy right here on Ruthless, or alternatively, some more deeper well-pure strategy to get yourself some armor. I guess not alternatively, but you get what I mean. You can get yourself like 4.5k stats from that. And with 4.5k stats, I'm pretty sure you should be able to complete, what is it called? Crystal Cave on Ruthless Hardcore? I'm not 100%, admittedly, sure on this, but I'm pretty sure. I'll test it out right now. Now, for showing off Crystal Cave, I went on my main account for a couple of reasons, but first, getting 4k stats takes a little bit of time, and I'm lazy. And secondarily, I did accidentally wipe over my local save, so I don't really have a choice. But it's around 4k-ish in my primary stat. Even, I just realized, my main EV so crap. But it's around 4k in the primary stat. We're using a couple of heroes. I'm not 100% sure on this build, to be entirely honest, but I'm going to try and do it without having any kind of a movement speed bonus from pets or anything like that. It'll be really rough. I know that for a fact. It'll be really rough on the first wave, but we should be able to get through it. It'll suck, but we'll get through it. But it'll suck. Now then, Crystal Cave Ruthless Hardcore campaign. You're going to notice immediately when you load in that you kind of don't have very much time to build or do anything. It's 90 seconds. And trust me, 90 seconds, whoa, it's bad, man. It's really bad. So we're going to beeline it to these 3 chests. I'm sure the routing could be improved here. I'll be honest, the routing is not exactly the best. We're going to beeline it to these chests. The last one, I'm not going to get that one. I'm going to be honest. We're not getting that last chest. And we're going to place down our set of auras roughly around here. Is this what a 4K stats is like? Jesus Christ. And then we're going to dump down a buff beam right here. Something like that, 40U just about there. Then we're going to swap over to this guy, and we're going to place down a couple of things. First one's first, a forest golem up here, and then we're going to place down a 2D web wall here, one down this main path, one down this path, and then one last one down over here. That one's 3D. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, I fumbled. It's okay. I'm sure we'll have enough time to where that won't be an issue, maybe. And then we're going to dump down right here our aura that I sold. And then at every 4 corners area, basically, we're going to, or actually, like, something like that, actually, will do just fine. We're going to place down these gas traps. Probably want more of them, but for now, that should do. Now comes the jank part. First things first, I'm going to dump down, like, somewhere in the middle an orc minion. I don't know, like that. Will do probably fine. I don't really know if I should do that, but I just want to distract the enemies a little bit. And we're going to try and get our mana up as soon as we can. And we'll start tower boosting and doing all that good business in just a moment. But first we want to upgrade this tower buff beam and focus down these ogres. We don't deal crazy good DPS, but we deal just enough to where we can deal with them before they get to our crystal. Or at the very least, we should be able to. Especially if they go through those walls, that's when shit gets good. But once we have our buff beams maxed out, we should be chilling for the most part, I think. All we really have to worry about at this point is the generic mobs and the occasional Harbinger or two, but that's nothing crazy, I don't think. And I'm beginning to realize I actually placed down my minions a little messed up wise. Are you going to fall off the map or just... Okay, you are chasing me down. Yeah, I fumbled my placement on my forest golem. He shouldn't be up there, he should be on the floor. So that's somewhere to improve on. Basically just swap between hero boost and tower boosting. Keep an eye on the Jins and whatnot, but your auras should take care of pretty much everything, and if your gas traps are like 4K-ish in your primary stat, they'll be large enough to where they can block off enemy spawns. In fact, I would probably recommend in the future, and by recommend I mean I'm going to do this, changing up your gas trap setup so that you have one at the entrance to all 4 of these ways, because otherwise final wave might get a little bit rough. I'm not 100% sure, but it might get a bit rough. Try and save yourself like a ton of mana for your builders next wave, because trust me, you're going to need it. Alright, that's going to be it for now. So, I don't remember how much build time we have, but I think it should be enough to get away with the rest of the building. Go ahead and swap over to this guy real quick. We're going to sell this guy up here, if we can fucking manage it. There we go. And we're going to dump down at the bottom a forest golem. And I think... Oh, also a... definitely, we also want this, a nature pylon somewhere, like... probably on top of where he is, actually. So 1, 2, 2, and then there we go. And then we're going to go over to our warden, and we're going to place down a whole boatload of towers. So first things first, going to be a shroom pit as always, and then withstands and other stuff. So place down a shroom pit, and then we're going to place down a cloud tower facing like kind of this way-ish, one facing kind of this way-ish, and then just a ton of withstands. Only 2 for the moment. That seems a bit low. Well, that's too bad. What was I going to do? Now we're going to go ahead and sell a couple of these gas traps because I am paranoid. What we're going to do is we're going to place one down over here, one down over here, fairly deep, and then one last one down kind of on this buff beam over here. That one, we might want to move on a Jester, actually. I'll do that. Move this gas trap over there. That'll do just fine. And then we're going to swap back to our monk. And now we should be able to just keep everything up here in tower boost. I just remembered I actually have to go onto a different character to level up my towers, because that's going to be really important. But I don't have all the towers placed down yet, so that shouldn't matter. But as you can see, with 4K stats, I mean, everything is being dealt with, like, really, really well. It's no big deal. You also get some good weapons from this map. I remember that just now. You get some good weapons, potentially. The Crystal Cane, I think, is the one that you want to look out for. But we're not here for the weapons. We're just here to unlock a really, really good XP farm. I'm also beginning to realize, like, damn, not having those extra Wistens is kind of sucky. I have 2 extra DU. What should I use that for? I guess I could just place down some reflectors here and there. Yeah, that's probably a good move. Or the best move, I should say. Maybe some other things. I don't know. I'm not fully decided yet on what I'm going to do. And of course, the last enemy is, as always, a bunch of Harbingers. This will be the same for the survival, by the way. The last enemies are always just a ton of Harbingers. They're just very, very slow to spawn in. Now then, very quickly, we're going to swap over to Lenny, our summoner. And what we're going to do is we're going to sell this orc, and we're going to go into Overlord mode, and basically place down a wall of minions around this spot here. So follow it roughly something in the way that I am. You want to have this be a fairly tight wall, otherwise bad things will happen. But, well, maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to be honest, I haven't tested this in a long time. I don't know if bad things will happen. I'm just very afraid that they will. But basically place down a mage, 3 archers, and then another set of archers, another 3 set of archers, and then a mage. That whole shtick, and then if you have extra DU left over, place down a spider minion, and then another spider minion, and then 1 more spider minion because we don't have any more DU for anything else. And there we go. That'll do just about fine. Now what we're going to do is on our primary screen, we're going to have, for the moment, our Tower Boost Monk. This guy right here, nothing crazy. We're going to have as a secondary character our, what's it called, Upgrader Adept, who we are going to place pretty much just like in the middle or on the stack of towers. Something like this will do just fine. And we're going to shoot down like this whole pathway, start tower boosting on her. And then if we can, we're going to bring in 2 extra heroes. Job Application, who is going to be our booster summoner. Place him all the way over this invisible spot here. And then we're going to start by tower boosting on this guy. And we should be fine. We'll passively upgrade things as long as I set this character to start shooting. We'll passively upgrade things as we go through the waves. And by the final wave, pretty much everything should be maxed out. And because you don't spend that much mana early on, you can actually go ahead and just like press N to drop a little bit of extra mana on your what's it called, Upgrader Adept. Hide the other screens, of course, for FPS being not awful. And you should be good. You are now officially in the area of Chilltown, USA. I think I would actually recommend moving your auras a little bit. What do I think about that? But whatever. Alright, now we're on the final wave. We're going to keep this guy as our primary screen. As a secondary, we're going to be bringing in... Now this one's going to be a bit rough, but if I can keep her alive, the Warden is a really nice secondary to have in the map. She just boosts her tower's DPS by like 66% when she's alive, so that's why we want to have her on the map. And then otherwise, it's just going to be a... this guy right here, a booster summoner, same as before, Guardian and Apprentice. And I think or not Apprentice, sorry, Huntress. I think I should actually get him an Apprentice and a Guardian for this, but the second one I'm bringing in is going to be the exact same thing of a Apprentice or not Apprentice, a Huntress and a Monk. Although, frankly speaking, I think 2 Squire Guardians would be the move here, more than anything else. But I think we'll be fine. I don't think it should be that much of a big deal. At least I don't think it will be. I want to be honest, I'm not entirely sure on this whole thing, but whatever. This character might also go down, but even if she does, I think we will be fine. I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. Now, a few of these things aren't maxed out. Sucks to suck. We'll deal with that later if we can. But for the moment, just go ahead and tower boost. If you can, of course, try and, upgrade your towers to maximum, because it's always good to have maximized towers. but by no means is it like make or break whether or not that happens. It is best to have stuff maxed out, but it's not like crazy necessary. Now, obviously, you won't have as much mana as me. I just realized that, but it'll be fine. All right, it'll be fine. Trust me. Now, go on this big guy right here, and make sure you sit on this stack of towers, or alternatively, you sit back over here. But I'm gonna stay on the stack of towers. Press V to skip down, to skip the cooldown timer. I'm gonna have this character F3 selected as my main screen. We're going to start Wrath boosting on her, and then we're going to start tower boosting on our main guy. And you're going to notice that we have, in terms of enemies, is going to be a bunch of these evil hero people that are awful and not so good. Now, they should be dealt with pretty comfortably. It'll just take a while, and that's pretty much it. As long as you have your Warden Wrath thing going, you'll have like a lot more DPS from your towers. But I mean, as long as the ogres don't get past super far, you'll be fine. Oh, our towers just lost 33% DPS. Or actually more than that, because she was using the Wrath ability. That's fine. As long as our other guys are alive, our other guys are alive, we should be a-okay. Even if these minions go down, I think we should still be fine. Probably. I'm not 100% sure, admittedly, but we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine. Once you get a single one of these enemies down, the rest of the map becomes a lot easier because suddenly your Wistens are able to target one more enemy than they were before. And then that could also, potentially, that could mean that they are able to target the same enemy as they were targeting before in terms of, like, they could target the Squire as an example. So once this Monk goes down, potentially the towers can start targeting the Squire with 2 Wisten shots, and then once he goes down, the next enemy with 3 Wisten shots, etc., etc. You'll notice that some of our minions are getting pretty low in their HP. Yep. It's pretty unfortunate, but I don't think they'll go down. Also, our mana boost, or our tower boost might go down, so in theory, I guess, having 2 tower boost monks might be pretty nice here. In fact, it would be really nice now that I'm thinking about it, instead of bringing in that warden. But I mean, if I can get through this with 1 tower boost guy, or with 1 tower boost monk, you guys should be able to get through it with, like, 2 of them, and all that good business. But yeah, you can see, life is pretty easy. You're just waiting here for the map to finish itself. There's not really that much to converse about. So I'll just speed this up until something either goes wrong or we're done with the map. And right now we're about to kill the Monk Guardian, and then after the Monk Guardian, probably like the next thing that's right next to it in terms of dying, and we should be done. We should be done very, very soon. There's one of them down, and then there is 2 of them down, 3 of them down, and now all we have left is the 1 last adept. Oh, and they dropped mana crystals as well. This guy, he's going to be a goober. He's just going to keep falling off the map. As long as you don't get near him, he's no big deal. And he won't get near you, so you don't have to worry about that. But he'll occasionally just drop off the map like a moron. So that's going to kind of suck, but whatever. Here is where having 2 characters with tower boost would be really nice. But again, I don't because I'm stupid and I'm lazy. Uh-oh. Oh, wait, we got our tower boost now. Cool. Well, I guess it wasn't that big of a deal at the end of the day. It was incredibly easy. Where is this guy? Oh, here he is. He's being an idiot. By the way, if he charges up a mana bomb and uses it, it's probably over. He just deals a lot of damage. But, I mean, I don't know. It looks like we're fine. We got our tower boost back up again. It's going to last for, like, forever, basically. And he's only got, like, 50 million HP. I should have cleared my inventory before doing this. Oh, I'm going to regret having not done that. We are now done with the map. Very, very easy. Crystal Spear, Crystal Mace. That's unfortunate. Ideally, you want to get the Crystal Staff. Or Crystal Cane, I think is what it's called. But whatevs. Okay, let's look at the weapon rewards. These guys can... I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not looking at the weapon rewards or the armor rewards. That's not what we're here for. But also, the Crystal Cane, if you get one that's like ultimate, pay attention to it. Alright, let's go back to the tavern. Now that we're in the tavern, I can go ahead and show you guys how to do this on survival because, oh my god, is it so much better on survival. This is the main XP farm. This is, in fact, I'm pretty sure, outside of True Boss Rush, this is the best XP farm in the entire video game. And it's so much easier than the campaign because, I mean, there's no build timer. I mean, that's it, actually. It's just, there's no build timer. That's why it's easier. Well, a couple of other reasons as well, but mainly the build time. So, when it comes to the build, you get 800 mana per chest, so life is, like, way easier. We're going to place down an electric, or not electric, a slow and a snare and an electric right here. And then we're going to swap over to our Series EV and basically do the exact same build that we did for the campaign, but on survival. And I'm just realizing my auras are not, in fact, able to reach over here, so I'm going to do a little bit of a cheese by upgrading both these buff beams to the same point, and then selling the other one. Ah, yes, stingy. Go ahead on this guy. And should I place down a spore tower? Or a nature pylon? Yeah, why not? I'll place down the nature pylon. No spore tower, though. We don't need that. Same thing with the web walls. These guys aren't super necessary, but especially later on, they help out quite a bit. By the way, the placement on these web walls is fairly important, because, like, ogres and stuff. But it's, I don't know, it's not really that much of a big deal. Oh yeah, you don't need any more gas traps. We're going to have so much DPS here that the gas traps won't matter. Alright, same thing as before. One shroom pit, a cloud tower facing roughly this direction, this direction. I'm also going to paint one, force one painting. Have one facing backwards. God, that was the legendary fumble. And then one facing over here, basically at every spawn point. And then a bunch of Wistens. I don't have that much more leftover mana. Whatever, this will be fine. I guess I have leftover mana, so I'll just dump it facing towards the crystal and call it a day. Look at that, we have perfectly used all of our DU. I did not plan that. And now this is pretty much your setup. You're going to have your primary tower boost monk. I would recommend spending like 1 or 2 waves to level all these towers to max on your adept, but by no means is it necessary, it just helps out a ton. But after you have this guy as your primary guy, you're going to have this booster summoner. Not necessary by any means, but having a booster summoner who can just survive is going to be really nice with a Huntress and Monk Guardian. It'll just make your life a lot easier. But again, not necessary. And then the leveling characters, you can level anywhere between 1 to 3 characters at a time. I'm going to level 2 of them. Make sure to give them a Huntress Guardian or a Monk Guardian whenever you can, and ideally some armor sets so that they don't die. I'm going to press Control G here. I'm going to upgrade my buff beam to maximum, and I'm going to start tower boosting. And the first wave, it'll speak for itself, alright? It will speak for itself in volumes. "58 seconds, and we got roughly 14 million experience on pretty much every hero. I have no idea why this character, this one didn't get any experience, but whatever. It's 14 million, and then if you damage an enemy with your characters, it's an additional, like, 1.3x multiplier, so it's a lot. And what you do is essentially you do waves 13 all the way, or I guess 14 all the way up until wave 25, and then once you get to wave 25, you reset because it's just not efficient at that point. And it's roughly like 100 something or 200 maybe. It's a lot of experience. It's like 150 million experience. It's a lot of experience. "63 seconds, and we're up to roughly like 30 million experience. That's the third wave complete, and we get an additional like 15-ish million experience. It'll decrease between waves because the waves take longer and stuff like that, but I mean, you build this once and then you're done, and then it's just like, boom, instant 100 million experience. Yeah, I should definitely have more Wistens here. I would recommend selling the Electric Aura and the Resistance Pylon and placing down 1 more Wisten in their place. In fact, you could maybe get 2 more Wistens. I'm not sure. Either way, though, wave 3, and we're at like 70 million. It's a lot, alright? The point is, it's a lot of experience. Alright, and we're finally on wave 25, which is where normally you would reset because you get a pet reward, and also the waves start taking much longer after this. Also, you get an Ethereal Ancient. It's actually pretty good. You want one that has like big size at its max level, so something like this really sucks big balls. And then after that, you know, hero damage, HP, ability 1, ability 2, that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're here for, all right? For the moment, I'm ignoring this, and I'm going to focus on instead the fact that all of our other characters, despite the fact that I left on them because I'm stupid, had like I think about 150 million experience. And as long as you have high enough stats, or upgrade your towers, or place that second withstand instead of a resistance pylon and electric aura that I did, which is stupid. But basically, as long as you do any of those things, then you can get away with giving those characters a DPS pet of some kind, and it'll multiply that experience that they got by another 1.3x or something like that. It'll be a lot more. But the point is, you get like roughly 150 mil experience from doing that once, which is, I'm pretty sure, more than enough to get your characters from level 0 up to level 83. And it's very much a good way, well, in fact, the best way to get your characters from any point to level 100. So yeah, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and get yourself experience, you do Crystal Cave. It'll be a bit rough on the campaign, but survival is easy peasy. Then if you want to... But yeah, if you want to get yourself a couple of good DPS... But yeah, if you want to get yourself a couple of good tower stat weapons for your Series EV/Huntress, go ahead and do Assault. Also a really good way to get experience, or not experience, sorry, mana. Really, really good way to get mana. In fact, one of the best in the game. On top of that, pretty good armor farm, but mainly if you want to get armor farm without doing deeper well, go ahead and do Lava Assault on Ruthless Hardcore. Also a pretty good mana farm, but mainly a good way to get armor and, of course, accessories. And if you want to be level 83 to equip those accessories, then around 4k stats, you can do Crystal Cave. Campaign will suck a little bit, but then you do survival, and once you do survival, you're chilling. You know, it'll be a really fast way to level all of your characters up to level 83, or probably just up to 100, because I mean, why not, really? And one last thing I have to mention is that my Hermit did in fact have like 3.5k in his base damage, which is really, really abnormal to have as a secondary stat. I just kind of forgot about this, but I don't think it really mattered because I don't think he was dealing much DPS. So I thought I should mention that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the extra part of the From a Fresh Account to Endgame series. You can now get yourself endgame stats through a variety of methods. And then after that, here's an amazing way to get experience. Here's a really good way to get yourself a stat weapon for some of your characters, and also a really good way to get mana. And if you want to figure out an even better way to get mana, I'm pretty sure you can do, in the Lost Quest tab, Wintermire, I think it was? You can do Wintermire on either Nightmare or Ruthless, ideally Ruthless. And there's like a couple of tower kill builds for this, so yeah. Point is, there's a lot of ways you can get your mana, XP, and whatnot. I've just shown a couple of them and what I think is the most efficient ways. If you want to know what to do after this, then just follow my Quest for Completion series. This should pick up around like episode 9 or something like that, or maybe episode 10. I don't really remember, but that's everything I wanted to show. I hope this has been useful, and I hope you have a good journey towards Endgame.